Hi, this is Denise Walker, and I just want to talk to you about why you need to put your phone down because it's a disconnect with people. So, a quote by Joseph Newton: people are lonely because they build walls instead of bridges. I really want you to think about that. Now, I understand, can you even imagine living without a cell phone today? No, you can't. It's really hard. Everything we do has something to do with our cell phones. They're right there in our hands, and we can reach out to the whole entire world with just a click of a button. And I understand. But sometimes that click of a button disconnects to the person who's sitting right next to you. And of course, we need the internet. We need these social media because a lot of people, it has to do with their careers and their jobs, or even like Facebook to connect to people who we've lost for years, or even in families we use it to connect. But when people are right in front of us, we tend to pick up that phone and connect to everyone in the world but the person right next to us. So I'm letting you know that it is imperative that we put the phones down, not just for relationship purposes, also for family purposes. Tend to go home and you off a long day at work, you go home and you pick up the phone instead of cooking dinner for your children, or you cook dinner and everyone at the table now picking up their phone instead of even conversing with one another. Now, this is something that I noticed and I need you all to do for yourselves is go to a restaurant, sit down and observe the people around you and see how a lot of couples are just not talking to one another anymore. They will sit, pick up their phone, check what's going on social media. When the waitress comes, they'll order their food. She walks away and they will pick the phone back up. The food comes, they will eat, and then they will pay the bill and leave. When did they ever talk to each other there? It doesn't happen. And I am asking you to please check this out for yourself because you will start to see how this is truly a trend. It is becoming the norm. Growing up, cell phones were not even part of my, life. We had a beeper and we thought having a beeper, wow, we were super cool. But now, if you sit there and have a cell phone and you're not on it, you feel like something is wrong. Oh my God, the cell phones get turned off. So I'm saying all that to say that it is truly imperative. Now, it's also a must because these young people today, they're not even doing well in English. They're not doing well when it comes to writing because they're so used to the LOLs and the I just saying instead of saying it the IJS. All these shortcuts to saying full sentences. Some stuff I have no idea what they're even saying. But at the same time, I do realize that this is the way that they communicate. So now when it's time to do schoolwork, what is happening? They're not able to use the right adjectives, or they don't know there from there, meaning there is a place, THERE, or they'll say there as far as it should be a person, it should be THEIR. They have no idea to differentiate which one is which because they're not using the English language the way it's properly should be used. Cell phones, of course, I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that the internet is bad. What I'm saying is that there is a true disconnect between people using their cell phones and people connecting with their mates. They are courting now texting. Texting is the new conversation. Inboxing is the new way of meeting people. And it is working for some people. But when it comes to the newer generation, they don't have anything else to compare it to because this is truly all that they know. So I would suggest, and it is a must, that when it comes into the house, cell phones need to be down for a certain period of time. When there's time to eat, put the cell phones down and start actually talking to each other. It is so imperative that we start to practice this now because as the newer generations are coming up, these babies are 3 and 4. They have an iPads and cell phones, and that's their only source of communication now. A kid will scream and holler, but if you put an iPad in their face, they will stop. And this is becoming their pacifier. We need to talk to our children, find out how their day was. My children are now, instead of having books, they have iPads as their books. So I understand that technology is extremely prevalent in this day and age, and it is a must. But there are times when they have to put some things away so they're able to communicate. So again, according to some research that I did, and his name is Dwight, and it's the roles of the mobile phones in the family communication. He also talked on how the families are disconnected because of the cell phones, and just how the times have changed. There was a research done, and in this research they got a lot of different people, and the author of that book, which is called Needing to Connect by Wash. And what they did was they just saw how involved these young people are with the cell phones, and how it actually started to deal with their self-esteem. And that a lot of children who had low self-esteem would be tending to use their cell phone way more because they were not able to communicate with other children. So they closed themselves into this bubble. Now, not everyone, according to this research, it has low self-esteem, but there is a higher percentage of children or young adults who have low self-esteem that will tend to use their cell phone as a cover, which goes back to that. I started off this was talking about how people put up a wall instead of bridges. A wall means we stop the way to communicate all the way, and you'll pick up a phone just not to be able, if you're in a new room with a new bunch of people and you don't know them, everyone picks up their phone because they don't know how to communicate and just speak to people. Whereas, of course, a bridge helps you to get over, and that's what conversations are. So I just want everyone to know that it is imperative that you put the phones down, and you need to start today. Thank you.